Welcome to this lab. In this lab, you will see how to import data to a Firestore database. So this is the flow of what we are going to do later on. First of all, we will activate the Cloud Shell. So Cloud Shell is a virtual machine that is loaded with development tool. It offers a persistent 5 GB home directory and run on Google Cloud. Cloud Shell provides command line access to your Google Cloud resource. So let's look at the task 1 here. So in the task 1, right, we're going to set up the Firestore in Google Cloud. There are two persons here that they are going to in charge of this project. So one is Patrick, another one is Ruby. So Patrick is the IT administrator. He's going to work closely with Ruby to accomplish below goals. So Ruby received a message from Patrick. So in the email it says, or in the message it says, "Hi Ruby, our first step in going serverless is creating a Firestore database with Google Cloud. Can you help with this task? I'm not familiar with setting this up." And this is what Ruby replied to Patrick. "Sure, I will be happy to help with that. I will send you some resources to get started. Let's get in touch once you are done creating the database." Okay, so back to the... Let's type in Firestore. And click on create a Firestore database. So we will select the standard edition. Under the configuration options, we will select the Firestore native. And then for the security rules, we will choose open. And in the location, click the region. And then select the US East one for my case. Maybe your one will be different. And then leave everything as the default, including the database ID. So let's create the database now. So on completion of the task, Ruby emailed Patrick, "Hey Patrick, great work setting up the Firestore database. To manage the database access, we will use service account that has been automatically created with the necessary privileges. We are now ready to migrate from old database to Firestore." And Patrick replied to Ruby, "Thanks for the help. Setting up the Firestore database was straightforward. I hope the database import process will be easier than it is with the legacy database, which is quite complex and require a lot of steps." Now we are moving on to task 2, write database import code. So the new Cloud Firestore database is in place, but it is empty. The customer data for pet theory still only exists in the old database. And now Patrick emailed to Ruby, "Hi Ruby, my manager would like to begin migrating the customer data to the new Firestore database. I have exported a CSV file from our legacy database, but it is not clear to me how to import this data into Firestore. Any chance you can lend me a help or lend me a hand?" So Ruby replied Patrick, "Hey Patrick, sure, let's set up a meeting to discuss." So like Patrick said, the customer data will be available in a CSV file. Help Patrick create an app that reads customer record from a CSV file and write them to a Firestore. Since Patrick familiar with JavaScript, so we built this application with the Node.js JavaScript runtime. So back to the Cloud Shell. Let's copy this project first. Okay, so now let's click on the Open Editor. Oops, okay, I have to change first. Okay, so I already changed to this folder lab 1, and now I go to open the editor again. You can see package JSON file. This file lists the package that your Node.js project depends on and make your build reproducible and therefore easier to share with others. So now that Patrick has his source code imported, he gets in touch with Ruby to see what package he needs to make the migration work. So this is the message from Patrick to Ruby. Hi Ruby, the code I use for the legacy database is pretty basic. It just creates a CSV ready for the import process. Anything I need to download before I get started. And Ruby replied Patrick, hi Patrick, I would suggest using one of the many Google Cloud Node package to interact with Firestore. We should then only need to make small changes to the existing code since the heavy lifting has been taken care of. So to allow Patrick code to write to the Firestore database, you need to install some additional peer dependency. So let's run this command. npm install Google Cloud /Firestore. Okay, next one is install the Google Cloud logging. After successful completions of the command, the package JSON will be automatically updated to include the new peer dependency and will look like this. So this is how it looks right. Now let's refresh. Okay, so these are the 2 additional dependency added. Now it's time to take a look at the script that read the CSV file of the customer and write 1 record in Firestore for each line in the CSV file. So this will be the file under the import test data.js. Okay, so it takes the output from the input CSV file and import it into the legacy database. Next is update the code to write to Firestore. So right here we will add this. Yep, that is done. Integrating with the Firestore database can be achieved with a couple of lines of code. So Ruby has shared some template code with Patrick for exactly the purpose. So this code that we just added here, declare a new database object which reference database created earlier in the lab. The function uses a batch process in which each record is processed in turn and given a document reference based on the identifier added. At the end of the function, the batch content is committed to the database. So we need to update this particular part to add the function call to write to Firestore and remove the call to write to database. It should look like this. Yep, that's done. And then add logging for the application to reference the logging API via the application, add the peer dependency to the existing code base. So we will add the line below the other required statement at the top of the file. Yep, so we added this one. Add a few constant variable and initialize the logging client. Add those just below the above line in the file line 5, like this. Okay, so we added this line. Okay, this one we can move it up. So we will add the code to write the log in the import CSV function just below the line console log. We should look like this. So after this update, your import CSV function code block should look like the following. Now when the application code is running, the Firestore database will be updated with the contents of the CSV file. The function import CSV takes the file name and passes the content on a line-by-line basis. Each line process is now sent to the Firestore function, write to Firestore, where each new record is written to the customer database. So in the task 3, we were going to create test data. It's time to import some data. Patrick contact Ruby about the concern he has about running a test with the real customer data. So, hi Ruby, I think it would be better if we don't use customer data for testing. We will need to maintain customer privacy, but also need to have some confidence that our data import script works correctly. Can you think of an alternative way to test? So Ruby say, fair point, Patrick, this is tricky as customer data may include personal identify information. I will share some starter code with you to create pseudo customer data, which we can use this data to test the import script. Now let's try install this fake library. So install the faker library, which will be used by the script that generate fake customer data. So we will now open the create test data.js. So let's check the code. So it should look like this. Right, we're going to add the logging for the code base as well on the line 3, this part. Right, so now we will add a few constant variable and initialize the logging client. So below there, we will add one more. So now we add the code to the write the log in the create test data function just below the created file, which is this part. So after you update the test data function, should look like this now. Yep. Okay, I think it's time to run this command. It's good now. So we will use the command in Cloud Shell to create the file customer 1000 CSV, which contains the 1000 record to test the data. So the file has been created. Now we will open the customer CSV file to verify that the test data has been created. Yeah, here you go. So with that, we have completed the task 3. I can mark it as completed. Now moving on to the task 4, we will import the test customer data. Let's do this. Okay, that's an error. So I fixed it. The problem comes from the file itself. It is a E before I changed it to ERR, and now it works. So I can check my progress, my task as completed. So in the task file, we will inspect the data in Firestore with a little help from Ruby Patrick, and it's now successfully migrated the test data to the Firestore database. So we can go back to the Cloud Console and then all the databases. Okay, we will see there's a default. Click on it. So basically, you can see these are the customer data now. So congratulations, this has finished. So you can end the lab.